Hello and welcome to episode number 129 of WP Cafe, the show where we share the real unfiltered experience of running a WordPress business. I'm Keith Devon and I'm joined by my co-host Mark Wilkinson. We're from Highrise Digital. We're a tiny agency building WordPress websites and products. Today, we're going to be talking, we've got a couple of things really. Going to be talking about LoopConf, which I went to yesterday, which is an independent WordPress conference that was in London. So I'll talk a little bit about my experience of that. And we're also going to be talking about design feedback, including kind of things like how many rounds of revisions do you give to clients. So before we dive into all that, just the usual that you can follow us on X at WP Cafe Show. You can find us on Blue Sky. You can find us on the web at wpcafe.show. We're also here on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. If you do enjoy the show, it would mean a lot to us if you hit the like button or subscribed. Let's feed the algorithm as best we can, see if we can get a few more people watching and listening. And if you are here live watching along, please do say hello in the comments on YouTube. It's always nice to see who's with us and to get your questions and your comments as we go. But as usual, let's check in with Mark. How's your week been, Mark?
Hi. Before I do, I think you sound a bit tinny. I don't know if you've got the right mic setting, so I'll just let you have a look at that. My week's been really slow and short because I've had a couple of days where I was ferrying family members to hospital and back and so forth. So it wasn't, I was out of work a bit. So I've not had a great deal of meaty stuff to do this week. Got the usual support stuff and faffing around with answering people's queries. I say faffing around, obviously really important. But yeah, other than that, it's been a bit of a bitty week, shall we say? A bit of a bitty week.
Fair enough. It often is, really, isn't it? When we don't have a big chunky project to work on, and like you say, you've been out a bit. So yeah.
That sounds better, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was the wrong mic. I was on my default MacBook mic for some reason.
Right, I see. Cool.
Good.
What about you anyway? How's your week? I know you had a conference yesterday.
We will go on to. Yeah, it's been it's been a frustrating week actually, which we will talk about as well, because of design feedback that I've been getting on a couple of different projects, and it's been frustrating. There's been a few good bits, especially yesterday at the conference. But yeah, work-wise, it's been one of those ones that frustrating, but I am actually determined to try to learn some kind of lesson from the frustrations. So hopefully, as we're chatting today, we might come up with something useful, or maybe someone watching along might come up with something useful for us. So we'll see. We'll see.
Can help us out. Who knows?
Yeah. So what do we tackle first? Do you reckon? Should I talk a little bit?
I'll go with the conference. I think yesterday.
A little bit about yesterday.
So obviously, I didn't go. It was we chatted potentially about going to WordPress London meetup, which had been moved to the Wednesday night, so that attendees could obviously then attend LoopConf on the Thursday. I just felt like it wasn't going to be worth it, to be honest, coming down for all that time. It would have cost us a lot of money as well.
It does cost a lot. Yeah.
I didn't decide to go, but you did. I mean, you're a lot closer, so it made sense. So how was the conference? First of all, what was it? For those that might be listening that don't really know what LoopConf is, and secondly, what did you do? How did you go?
LoopConf is an independent WordPress conference, one day, single track. It has happened before, many years ago, apparently. I don't know how many of them there have been, but this wasn't the first. I think there's been one in Las Vegas before. So it's the brainchild of Brian Richards. Oh my God, have I completely forgotten his name? Brian Richards. I think that's right. The man behind WP Sessions, which is like a curated list of WordPress tutorials and general WordPressy videos. He's a super nice guy, an incredible MC, an absolute natural. So it was brought back to life because of a kind of partnership and an opportunity came up for Human Made kind of get involved and bring it here, I guess, to the UK. I think they already had some venue space and stuff lined up for another event that maybe didn't happen. There's something like that. There was some kind of opportunistic scenario that kind of led to happening. So yeah, it was a single day. It was the Bishopsgate Institute in London. So near Liverpool Street, so right in the middle of London. Lovely building and space.
It sounds familiar, that venue. Have we had something else there? Was there like a WordPress meetup there at some point? I don't know. Just the name. I feel like I've been, or
I don't know if there was a WordCamp there once. Maybe.
Not sure, but anyway.
You might be right. I'm not sure. It felt a little bit familiar.
Right.
But
just
anyway.
The name. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was nice. Yeah, single track. Like it was basically all in one room. There was a room for like the talks, the sponsors, and then there was a room for the coffee and lunch and snacks and stuff. So it was like two spaces you could be in. I actually I like a single track format. Less decision making, less kind of FOMO of what's going on the other track. Like, are you missing out on something good? And also, like, everyone there has had this shared experience, so you know that everyone's seen that talk, so you can talk to anybody about any of the talks, and you know that they were there.
Yeah.
I quite like that. And it's like a lot less to organize and stuff. Like, I don't really see the need for like loads and loads of tracks for things. Anyway, talks were good. The talks were actually the main reason I wasn't going to go initially, because I looked down the list and I thought none of them jumped out as something that, yes, I need to know about this. I want to learn more about that thing. But they were all great in their own way. They were all like really interesting. There was stuff on the founder of Ghost. I loved his story, John O'Nolan. That was really interesting. We had Ross Wintle doing like 25 lessons from 25 years. That was really, really good fun.
Any talk really from Ross is good.
Yeah, like really kind of heartwarming and just like it was just really nice. Good talk from Andy Bell right at the end, who's like a CSS-y guy, but he was mainly talking about design feedback, and that kind of thing. So that was interesting. That was very relevant. Lady Anna talking about indie web and making sure that you have your own home on the web, blogging more and all that kind of stuff on your own kind of domain, not just putting out content on other platforms all the time. That was kind of interesting. Some interesting security stuff, some interesting stuff with AI. I'm missing loads. How many talks were there? There were 8, I think. And I say, they were all interesting.
So good. What were the numbers? Like how many was there? How many was there?
I don't know. I'm really bad at estimating things like that. Not that many. A lot of empty seats. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if there were 50 people there.
Wow, was that all?
660 maybe. I could be wrong. I could be undercooking that. There wasn't a lot. It felt like a big-ish meetup rather than like a full-on.
That's interesting. I expected there to be hundreds. No, I don't know. That's just me. Like a conference, it seems like it should be hundreds of people. Not that it matters, but
pretty sure the organizers were hoping that there were going to be, significantly more. I got the sense that it was about half full,
interesting,
or half empty, depending which way.
I wonder why that was then. Any thoughts? Any insights?
I've got lots of thoughts. I don't know if I've got insights, but I think generally there's not lots of optimism in the WordPress space. There's not lots of optimism in the world in general at the minute, and I do think that affects people's growth mindset in terms of like, I want to go out and learn. And I don't mind spending money because I'm going to make more money. But as soon as you're in defensive mode, which I think a lot of businesses are, you're starting to think, well, why should I spend money on that? I'm not just going to do it for the sake of it. Whereas if you're a bit more like, the future's going to be great, let's go, I really do think that makes a massive difference. But I also think, and I don't know this because I don't know what the marketing efforts were like, I think the price was slightly too high. I do think potentially the talk speakers and content didn't have that real hook. Well, they didn't hook me. They were great on the day, but they didn't make me initially want to pay and attend. And I think I can see that was probably the case for a lot of developers. There weren't many talks there where you think, if I go to this talk, I will be better at X.
Yeah. What was lunch provided?
Yes.
Yeah, because I do wonder, because for me, one of the biggest reasons for me not attending was the cost. I mean, it would have been lovely to go down and see people that I haven't seen for months and chat to them, regardless of the talks. You know, I'm sure the talks would have enhanced it and got more from it. But the cost was for me. So I think the tickets were 300.
And something. Yeah.
Trains, accommodation, you know, spends that you know, so you're getting towards £1,000 probably by the time you've actually done the journey. And you're thinking, is that really worth it from a business perspective? And that's a really difficult decision to make. But I do think that the cost is, and I do wonder, because I think back to the very early WordCamp that I was semi-involved with in organising, and did we have lunch? I don't remember organising the lunches, and I think the early WordCamps you didn't. I just wonder why conferences always put like a lunch on. Why don't they just do the conference and then you just do your lunch, you know, your own lunch? I don't know. Maybe because that would cut the cost down. Surely that would cut the cost down a lot. Or is it because the venues won't let you have the venue without paying for the food? I don't know.
Possibly some of that, and possibly just it is nice to all kind of be in the same space and eat together. And
yeah, that's true.
I don't know, and it's it's a really good question. I don't know. I'd like, for me, lunch being provided was a good thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm just thinking, if cost is a problem for people going, like you've said, in the current business climate, people are struggling to justify, as I was in my head. Then surely trying to make that cost less is an option, maybe.
I think it would obviously depend on how much extra they're charging per head for lunch.
Yeah.
so like, if it was like 20 quid a head to do the catering, or 30, 40 quid a head to do the catering, maybe take that out and save on the cost. If it was 10, then
we won't know that, will we? But
you've got your money's worth, and like going out to lunch would have cost you a whole bunch. And I know there's the time of that as well. Like, where do you go? Does everyone, fit in the nearest pub? Are you going to get served in time? Are you going to get back in time for the talks after lunch? Like, there's all that kind of logistical stuff that actually would be quite difficult. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I met some really nice people, hung out with lots of old WordPress friends and some new friends. And it was really, really great. And every time I do something like that, I want to do more of it.
Yeah.
But the cost thing does come into play when you're actually having to like press the button and be like, there's 300 quid going out of our account, plus the hotel, plus the trains, plus the whatever. It becomes harder.
Plus evening meal, plus drinks, plus it gets expensive.
There were some freelancers there. It's like fair play. You've spent a fair amount of money, but like, most people are there on behalf of their businesses. To some extent, like larger agencies and hosting companies and product companies, and
still it still costs them, I think. But
it does.
Did it feel different to a WordCamp? Obviously, because it sounds as though it was very WordPress focused, which is what WordCamp is, but it just didn't have the WordCamp brand. Or was it completely different, or was it similar?
It felt different in the sense that it was better.
Right. Good.
And I'd made better. I think there's a few ways that I liked it. I think the quality of speakers was higher because they can just be chosen.
Yes.
And there doesn't have to be like this kind of blind submission process. So you can just be like, Brian can just be like, I want that speaker, that speaker, that speaker, and that speaker, because they're all really good speakers, really good at their topic. And, that's what he can curate that experience. The multi-track thing, or like the single track thing, felt different. The criticism of like, it wasn't heavy on the criticism, considering it wasn't a WordPress official event.
Yeah.
I was probably expecting it to be slightly heavier on the kind of criticism of recent directions. So there was a talk by Ryan McHugh about the FAIR project. You know, he had a huge opportunity because he was fairly badly wronged in from my point of view, but he had a huge opportunity to really put the knife in, or whatever the expression is, and he didn't. You know, he chose to be very classy about it. What else felt different? Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know if the speakers were paid?
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I mean, just interested to see how it differs from
I would expect they probably were.
I would think so at the price point of the tickets, but
exactly. I think they probably were, and as well, because there was not a lot. There was a few people there from outside the WordPress space talking to a fairly small audience, and I just kind of wonder why would they have done that for free?
Yeah.
So,
to be fair though, I mean, I say paid. I don't know what the payment would be for a speaker. I have literally no idea, but they would have a cost, wouldn't they, of going, just like I had a cost of going as well. So probably payment would be offset by the cost they had to make to go there. So it eventually means
maybe
going for free, I suppose. I don't know. Obviously, they're not going for free because they're contributing massively to the conference. So
I think most of the speakers were UK based.
Yeah.
John O'Nolan is based in the US, so I don't know if they paid for him to come over.
Right.
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Like all the same old people. It was like going to a WordPress London meetup.
Yeah, I wish I could have come
on a slightly bigger scale. Yeah, it was really good.
Makes sense, but I wish if they do it up in like Manchester, or I'd definitely go, obviously, but it's just a bit too far to. I think for me, coming down to London, it's not the coming down to London. It's the fact that the last train back for me, I think it's like 7:30 at night to get you in up here to sort of like 9, 9:30. And then if you wait till after that, you're talking real. Well, I think you've got to wait till the morning after. So I can't really get there and back in a day almost when there's stuff. And the whole point of not the whole point. A big part of the conference is you want to go to the after and chat and meet up with people. And that would seem silly not to then go to that, just to go down for the day at the conference and then come home.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually really flagging during the day. Like I was so tired for some reason. I think too much coffee and sugar early on. They had lots of nice vegan sweet things, so I was like going crazy on all the muffins and cookies and stuff, and then all the coffee. So I was flagging in the afternoon. I was thinking, I could just go home. I was like, no, don't go home. You know, just suck it up for like you'll get a second wind. Get yourself down to the bar, and it was lush, like right down on the River Thames, beautiful sunset,
nice,
like the Shard in the background, and just like really really swanky, and all the booze and food was free. So it was just I'm glad I went. It was good fun. It was good fun. Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
So the next one on the list is rounds of revisions. And this is kind of like tied in with sort of like our RecPress product and one of the sort of experiences this week. Do you want to explain?
Yeah.
It was your interaction and your sort of part of this, really, not me.
As I explain this, I'm going to sound like, I don't know, a bit of a knob, really. But like essentially... Essentially, I've been working on. There's two things, but we'll start with the RecPress build. So I'm installing a job board for a client, and part of our service is to style that up to match their current website, which I've done. But now I'm just getting like endless emails saying, "Can you just one last thing? Can you just do this? Can you just do that? Can you just?" And some of the like a couple of things. Some of the communication is truly appalling, which we can talk about. And some of the things they're asking me to do are kind of ridiculous as well. You know, in terms of like I've lined stuff up to match a grid, and then they're just like, "Can you move that thing up and left a bit into that space?" I'm like, "What? Just like an arbitrary amount?" Yeah, just an like just up into that. I'm like, oh, okay, what the hell's going on? So they're really, really picky about fine details, but then also ask me to make ridiculous design decisions that don't make any sense at all. So it's quite frustrating. at the moment. I just feel like I'm just a pixel pusher.
I think what's frustrating is that, for me, is that like part of our service is to say we will brand this to match your website, which is an important pull factor for people to come and buy the product, I think, because it's like you're not just getting something out of the box, you are getting a branded solution.
Yeah.
And I think that the question comes as to where does the line get drawn of what that actually means.
Yeah.
And I wonder how other people would approach answering those sort of questions, like you said, like pulling things out of a grid and just moving something 3 pixels to the left because they want it to look that way. Part of me just thinks no, like, but it's done the way it's done because that's the right way to do it. But maybe that's what our job should be. I mean, it's their website, it's their.
Yeah, well, that's can you ever be like that in a client services kind of? I'm trying to think of other like examples. You know, of like I don't know, a gardener or something pruning something a certain way, and you'd be like, no, can you prune it this way? And they're like, no, I'm doing it my way. It's like, no, it's my garden. It's my garden. Like, do what I tell you to do. And I get it. I get it. But like, the frustration for me is the super pickiness about some of the stuff that I've been doing, where I look around the rest of the website and some of the requests they've made of me and think, how can you be so picky with what I've done when everything else is just inconsistent? And you know, they're saying things like all the spacing is really consistent on the website, so make sure it matches, like what you do matches. And then I literally have sent them a screenshot of like, no, the spacing is not consistent in the rest of the website. None of the spacing is the same. Or there was something there, but
so that begs the question, is it our job as part of our product to match the inconsistency of their website because that is matching the brand? Or is it our job to say, well, actually, because that's inconsistent, we're going to do it right, but then that might look wrong because it's not consistent with the rest of the site. That's I think ultimately we've talked ourselves into the fact that if the client wants it, the client almost has to have it, because that's kind of what we say we deliver.
I think what's interesting within reason,
how long does that go on for? You know, like you said, keep sending emails, you know, last thing, and then 2 days later, oh, just one more thing, or just one more thing. And then do we have to somehow put a finite on that and say, you know, I don't know whether it's the numbers of rounds of revisions, or you send, I don't know, any ideas on how we could improve that process so that they understand that this can't go on forever?
Yeah,
and I don't know the answer to that.
No, and I don't either. And like, I think rounds of revisions, I don't like that concept.
No.
And I think I really do have to just swallow my pride and just be like, it's my job just to kind of work on this till it's right. As long as they're not asking me to redo things, if they've said, can we have X, and then they say, actually, I don't like the look of that, I want Y, maybe let that slide a couple of times and then be like, no, I've changed that now. That's the way it is. You're gonna have to pay. If you keep telling me to change things, I'm gonna have to start charging. I mean, I think that would be fair. But it's frustrating. It's not something I enjoy. Whenever
it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're approaching this from the position that the customer is asking us to do perhaps a little bit more than we expect them or want them to be.
Yeah.
But actually, we're approaching this in that what we really want to do is say, look, this is outside of what we've agreed. This is going to cost you more. We haven't actually gone back and said, hey, do you know what? A couple of £100 and we could probably just get all these things done for you. And they might just say, yeah, no problem.
But if I was them, I'd be like, no, I
agree.
I signed up for you to make it match the website, and you will do that.
Yeah, but the argument could come back, couldn't it? Well, we have.
Yeah, I did. Well, that's true. I did match it.
So
yeah.
I think the other thing to think about here is that, you know, if we do, you know, 15 of these a year, probably only 1 or 2 are going to be like this. The rest are going to be fine. So perhaps you just say, just let it be. You know, it's got to, you know, handle it type thing.
Yeah.
Which usually happens.
By the way, the button that they asked me to put in the middle of nowhere has now been removed by them, and they've replaced it with another button, which is in a more sensible place. Which is interesting that they didn't ask me to do it.
Yeah, maybe they've got the impression that you've had enough.
They might have been like, well, yeah, we can't ask Keith to change that again. We've already,
we've already asked him.
Yeah, really, really tricky. I don't like putting hard limits on design work because I've been at the other side of that. We've hired a garden designer recently because we've got to do a lot of work in our garden and we just needed a bit of help. And there are two rounds of revisions, and we did a round, and then some of the changes that they put in, I didn't like. And then I've only got one more round, and I'm like, oh crap! Like, what do I ask for on this last round of revisions? Because what if I don't like the end results? I'm just kind of stuck with it then, or I have to start paying more. It doesn't leave a really nice feeling. Like, I know I'm really frustrated personally, and I think maybe a lot of this is just me learning to deal with this. And like you say, there's lots of ways that I can justify it to myself. Like, most clients aren't like this. Most projects are really fast. Just take the rough with the smooth, and actually they're nice guys, and actually they're just trying to make their website look good.
Exactly. I think it's important to say, actually, like, there's been no part of this communication that's been badly offensive or angry or anything like that. It's just not been anything like that. It's been perfectly pleasant and everything's gone really well. It's just, it's been a lot of requests and things, and I think the other slight frustration was some of the communication was a little bit, it felt like it was a bit rushed on their part.
My goodness.
And really hard to understand. And it's almost like, just read that back because it doesn't really make sense. And that's frustrating.
This has been a theme of my week. So it's this client and one other. The communication has just been so terrible. Garbled sentences that just make absolutely no sense when you read them back. And then when I ask for clarification, you kind of don't really get it. You get another garbled sentence that doesn't make it. And I'm just like, guys, like, this is not I'm not reading English here.
Yeah.
I actually put one of the sentences or paragraphs or whatever it was into ChatGPT and said, do you understand what they're trying to say? And it basically said, no, not really.
Amazing. You've actually got ChatGPT to say no.
Yeah.
Usually it goes, sure, no problem, I can try.
Yeah, but I think it was just agreeing with me, as it always does. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're right. This is really hard to understand.
You're amazing.
Yeah. Good catch, or whatever it says. But yeah, it's been difficult. And with the other client, actually, I've been doing more original design-based work rather than just like styling something that already exists. And that's also been very frustrating because I feel like the client is just pushing me down a worse and worse design route. And I've really tried hard to like justify why I think other approaches might be better. And even though they haven't asked for it, I've been like providing alternatives. I'm like, well, we're kind of currently going down this route, but what about this idea that you haven't asked for that looks 10 times better? And they're just like, no, I like the original one. And by the way, can you also center all the text, or can you move this random thing over here? Or, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you we have to add a button, and it's just really not enjoying like design this week. It's just really very frustrating.
It's back to what you said. All you can do is advise and consult, and ultimately, I guess it's their baby, isn't it? They've got to do what they want to do, so you've got to put
I did say to you earlier, like, next time they come and say we need to design a module for such and such, what do I do? Like, A, do I do it or not? And B, if I do it, how do I do it differently so I don't feel like this?
I don't know. Yeah.
Because I don't
ask the question, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like this. Like, I really haven't been enjoying this work, like in this way. And again, very nice client. Just trying to do the best, for the, they're trying to do their best. They're being very polite and enthusiastic, and but it's just I see a design going sideways, and I haven't been able to guide it into something better. I think I was talking to a friend earlier, and I was telling him, like, I presented these two options. One of them is like terrible, it's what they've asked for, and one of them's really good, and what I think they should go for, and they obviously chose the terrible one. And I just thought in my head, just never provide them with a terrible option. I think Nick said that. He's like, don't give clients a bad option because they will choose it.
Don't send it over. Just say, yeah, this is what I've come up with, maybe.
Yeah. Because that's where we're at now. They're kind of fixed on this idea that they saw that I just really don't like. But then it's what they asked for. They asked me to make those changes. So,
tricky.
Yeah, really, really tricky.
Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's enough ranting for today. But it's been good. Thanks everybody for letting me get all that off my chest. We will be back next week, I think, unless there's something. I haven't checked the calendar, but I'm sure we'll be back next week for another show. So if you want to catch us again, make sure you subscribe either here on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast, make sure you're subscribed on your podcast player. Before you go, if you can also just drop us a little like if you've made it to the end of the show. Surely we're worth a like. If you can do that, that'd be great. And see you next time.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.